This is Sunday Live with Jeff Koinange and Olive Barrows.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to the very third Sunday in August. We have a great show for you today, as always.
I like how you're keeping track. For me, the days just sort of blend together.
Yeah. I notice you have a bow like my bow tie.
Yes, I do.
It's a little low.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Okay. We have a guest today, the head of
lending, higher education loans board. Yes.
So university students out there.
Mr. Kingori Ndegwa.
Yeah.
If you have questions,
correct.
At O'Barrows, at Koinange Jeff.
There you go.
At Citizen TV Kenya. Hashtag is Sunday Live. So we've carried several stories. We'll carry some tonight of students who say they come from needy, vulnerable backgrounds.
And they're being left out.
They've been placed in bands they feel does not reflect their economic reality.
Very important. Okay. Start tweeting at Koinange Jeff.
At O'Barrows, at Citizen TV Kenya.
Hashtag
Sunday Live.
Sunday Live begins right now.
Tonight.
It's almost becoming another case of poverty killing destiny. So any well-wisher out there who is willing to support me, I'll be very, very grateful.
University funding categories puzzle. Vulnerable and needy students risk missing university as hundreds of poor families receive the least funding.
Eco-levy, we will target those areas that would not affect the common mwananchi and do it in a way that we improve the economy and not hurt the economy.
Another tax burden in the offing. Treasury to reintroduce eco-levy and some tax measures contained in the withdrawn finance bill in a bid to raise 150 billion shillings.
From morning we have screened around 500 international travelers, those traveling from Uganda, entering Kenya.
Mpox alert. Tests and surveillance heightened at border points, even as the country awaits results of the second suspected case reported in Thika Town in Kiambu County.
Ile pesa yote ambayo nimetop up imefika 4.6 M ambayo nimepoteza. Maisha yamekuwa magumu sana.
From home of champions to home of cons, a church bishop goes into hiding after allegedly defrauding congregants millions of shillings in fictitious investment.
And welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Yulanzale. Now, tonight, we begin our broadcast with an uproar over university funding mess, which threatens to lock out hundreds of vulnerable and needy students from joining institutions of higher learning. The disparity in the funding model released by the Ministry of Education could see vulnerable students such as Josiah Ogachi, who scored an A plane in KCSE, miss university as his family cannot raise 61,000 shillings as household contribution. And this is after he was placed in Band 3. Miriam Nyambura has the details.
Stephen Ogachi, who lives in Bosunya village, Bomachoge Chache, Kisii County, walks back home with his wife in tow. The family had on Sunday morning embarked on a mission to raise funds for their child, Josiah Ogachi, who is set to join Kenyatta University this week, Wednesday, 21st August, to pursue a course in computer science. But with each step, their dream of getting their child that higher education slips further away. The family received a letter from the university that their son had been categorized in Band 3, meaning the household will contribute 61,200 shillings per year towards his fees. Fees that will be paid in 2 installments of 30,600 shillings in semester 1 and 2. But the family is unable to raise the amount days before the reporting date.
Kijana hatujawahi kumletea result slip kwa sababu ya clearance expenses ambazo zina amount up to 5,000 ambazo tungestahili kuchukua huko ndio awe cleared tupewe result slip, na result slip inatakikana ndio aingie chuoni.
Hata kijana mwenyewe alipoitwa akaona hakuna tumaini kwa nyumba, so alikuwa anasema ya kwamba kama mimi sitaenda shule nitapotea kabisa na mutaniona tena. So ikabidi sisi tuchukue hatua kutafuta mahali ambayo tunaweza kupata msaada.
While his parents were out in search for well wishers, 19-year-old Josiah Ogachi, a first-year hopeful, is in the farm, busy trying to keep his worrying thoughts at bay. His parents, who do menial jobs to fend for the family, earn 150 shillings per day. This translates to about 750 shillings every 5 days and 3,000 shillings a month.
It becomes quite difficult, and it's almost becoming another case of poverty killing destiny. So any well-wisher out there who is willing to support me, I'll be very, very grateful.
The Ministry of Education categorized Ogachi in Band 3. He will get 80% of government financing, while the household contributes 20%. This category is meant to households whose income ranges from 23,000 shillings to 70,000 shillings per month, a far cry from what Ogachi's family earns.
Tulikuwa tunaomba ya kwamba kama Mungu angefungua njia huyu kijana asome, maana amesoma kwa bidii sana.
With the reporting date for the 153,000 students placed by KUPS to universities and TVETs set for next week, it remains to be seen how many students will report to school on time, given the challenges of acquiring fees for some needy students placed in the 5 bands. Marianne Nyambura, Citizen TV.
President William Ruto now says the Ministry of Education will increase funding for scholarships and loans for the extremely needy students to 95%.
Now, his remarks come as the ministry is caught up in yet another uproar over the new banding parameters for students seeking government funding for higher education in the country, which could see hundreds of needy students missing out on university. Now, the new funding bands seek to allocate funds to students based on the level of financial need and capability. Let's get more from our very own Brenda Wanga.
A few weeks before the 2023 KCSE cohort joins university and TVET, and the Ministry of Education is now making it clear how the financial aid they applied for will be dispensed.
You make these changes,
the President promising to ensure that the most vulnerable in society will not be disadvantaged.
And that is why, in this new model, we are increasing scholarship and loan for students from vulnerable families from 80% to 95%. I am persuaded that it is the right thing to do.
The President's pronouncement, however, comes as the ministry begins implementing the reviewed categorization of students' financial aid needs. The ministry has reviewed the banding using what they term as an improved means testing instrument that pays close attention to the socio-economic indicators of the student's environment, including household income, geographic location, poverty levels, the number of dependents in the student's family, as well as other special circumstances like disabilities. The instrument also aims to ensure that available resources are equitably distributed while directing the financial aid directly to the students. Under the revised means testing instruments, students seeking financial aid were grouped in 5 bands depending on the level of income of a household and their financial needs. Those in Band 1 are the extremely needy and vulnerable. This group will receive the bulk of the government aid in terms of scholarship at 70%, loans at 25%, where the household will contribute only 5% of the fees. The student will also get upkeep support of 60,000 shillings. Those in Band 2 are students coming from low-income families who require substantial aid. This group gets 60% scholarship, 30% in loans, while they will have to pay 10% of the fees and get 55,000 shillings in upkeep fees. The needy students in Band 3 whose families have modest incomes will get 50% in scholarships, 30% in loans, and 50,000 as upkeep, while they will pay 10% of the fee. Those in band 4 and 5, considered middle and high income earners, will pay the most of the tuition fees per household at 40 and 20%, while the students will get 30% as loans and between 40 and 45,000 shillings as students' upkeep. While the funding is largely dependent on the income levels of the household, students with special needs, including orphans or those with disabilities, are considered, while at the same time there will be consideration for affirmative action to ensure that students from marginalized and vulnerable groups are considered in the classification. In the meantime, the ministry says with the guidelines out, they have received applications from 85% of the students who sat exams last year and qualified for government funding. These applications will continue to be accepted to the end of the year. However, this new banding only applies to the 2022 KCSE cohorts, while those who are continuing students will use the old model of funding that will see close to 40,000 students allocated bursaries this financial year. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
All right, after that report from Brenda Wenger, we joined live here in the studios by the head of lending at the Higher Education Loans Board, HELB, King Odindegwa. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
We have many questions for you, and I'm sure there are many questions out there.
I'm ready for them.
All right. But first, just to get your reaction on the story we aired at the top of this news hour, and the young man by name of Josiah Ogachi, who comes from a vulnerable background, and yet he's being required to contribute 61,000 shillings as household contribution in Band 3. Yesterday, we had a young man by the name of Israel Ngosi. His mother is literally the mama mboga this whole system is meant to aid, and he's been placed in Band 4, and yet she says she cannot raise more than 200. She takes home at most 200 shillings a day. So why do we have students who are being classified in bands that do not accurately reflect the economic reality?
Thank you. Before I answer that question, maybe let me explain that we have an appeals window. That anybody is allowed to come into the system and be able to request for a review of the banding. Usually why that would happen, the information the student gave to us may not have been accurate. And so he was inaccurately banded. Today, I got an MP who told me an orphan was put in Band 5. And I told him, MP, send me the ID. He luckily enough sent me the form. And the form on page 1 is saying, your both parents are and the student had indicated yes. So for this case, he is free to come and talk to us, and we'll give him a chance for rebanding. The errors in data capture, and you know these students normally don't do it themselves. They take it to the cyber, and they will leave the cyber with all the details and go home. So later on, if the cyber person is in a hurry to make money, if he makes a mistake, he will not go back. And the moment you submit the form, we do not allow you to edit again because it comes straight to our database. So this instrument you're using can accurately be able to place you in the correct band if you give the correct information.
The question, okay, so how does this means system work?
Now, a means testing is an instrument that is used to gauge your level of need. Usually, it is used in many sectors. Labor are using it for social protection. Chief was to use it for the new health systems. Minister of Labor, so the Productivity Center in the National Productivity Center, they also use it. So this is a tool that can be used to determine using so many variables. Some of them are social factors, like if family structure, age of the oldest parent, family size, number of students in school, if there's somebody else in university or TVET college who is getting funded from by HELB. It also looks at the family structure. Is it single, orphan, both parents alive? It also even looks at the education level of the parent. Then we go, after we have gotten a score for that, we now go to what we call income. And this income is validated by KRA. We normally get the data from KRA for everybody in Kenya. But then we also compare it with other databases, including our own database, which is so rich. We have built it for the last 27 years. So it has a lot of information on any child who is there. Then we also have what we call affirmative action. If you are an orphan, or if you have disability, actually one of the key things was chronic illness, which was very strong on this one. And when I look at my database, I can see about 338 students were banded to Band 1 because of chronic illness. Now, some people don't give us this information. On Friday, A student went to go to see the PS, no, a parent, and he had the oxygen cylinder and pipes to the. And when we asked the child, let me talk to your son, did he indicate that you are sick? The kid said, I saw it, but the form refused to upload. Now, they were not even supposed to upload any medical documents. We had a template which you could print, take it to any level 4 hospital, and have it signed. That did not happen. But you see, now those are easy cases to deal with, because once they come to us, we are quickly going back, opening for them the system, and we rebut them. So this MTI is so balanced. And we have an affirmative action to a course called agriculture. And this was because students are not taking agriculture. You find a class in Nairobi University, 100 students are placed, only about 12 would report. Or in a university like Kebu, you find only 2 would report. And then the class cannot take off because the minimum recommended is 15 students. So agriculture has also been given affirmative action. So all that undone, I think we are able to know where to classify using that MTI. This is an MTI which has been developed scientifically. We use a tool called Pairwise, which is able to rank which variable can easily predict your level of need.
But the money is available?
The money is available.
It's there for the students?
Yes, with the assurance we have from Treasury is that they are going to give us 28 billion shillings for first years only.
Wait, let's put a pin in that, because I didn't quite catch that billion, but we'll come back with that.
Okay.
But first, let's look at a couple of other stories, then we'll come back. Because I've not even sufficiently understood that means testing instrument.
I'll explain it further.
Yeah, so we will probably need more detail on that.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're going to be speaking to King Ori Ndegwa in a few short
while.
And if you have any questions and comments,
at O'Barrows, at Citizen TV Kenya,
at Koinange Jeff, please send them through and make sure you put the hashtag Sunday Live. Moving along.
Right. The government is now in the last-minute plans to reintroduce the contentious eco-levy tax in its new revenue-raising proposals as it seeks to collect 150 billion shillings more to plug into the deficit caused by the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024.
Keep going.
All right. National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, however, says the tax will not affect other sensitive commodities such as sanitary towels, but could have a hit on multinational companies. As Emmanuel Tona reports, the tax amendment bill, which is currently being crafted, could be ready by the end of September.
After giving signals on the possible return of some of the clauses in the controversial Finance Bill 2024 that was shot down by weeks of Gen Z-led protests,
so was it less after that?
The government is now in the final stages of crafting other tax-raising measures through the tax amendment bill and being processed for a fresh introduction to Parliament. Speaking to Citizen TV, Treasury CS John Mbadi disclosed that the controversial eco-levy will be among those clauses which will make a comeback.
There are about 49. Some don't even have financial implication. Some just aligning the laws. Eco-levy, we will target those areas that would not affect the common mwananchi. That those sensitive areas, like what was widely talked about, sanitary pads, etc., those ones we can't make a mistake because Kenyans have spoken.
The eco-levy, which was among the key subjects for the street protests, also saw a rejection by multinational companies such as the American giant beverage manufacturer and distributor Coca-Cola, which was opposed to the 10% excise duty in the proposal.
They will tell us why they oppose it. They will tell us, because for me, you know them, they are in business. But we also have an interest as a country. This country is not a dumping place. So we are saying if you are creating, if you are injurious to the environment, then you must pay for helping make good what you have, the harm that you have caused.
The government is also targeting to collect more taxes by extending the tax amnesty period by 6 months to allow more Kenyans to file their returns.
Last year, we allowed for tax amnesty, and we collected, because of that, the government collected 43 billion. So tax amnesty is beneficial both to the taxpayer and also to the government.
Sisi kama bunge, tunangoja kuona mapendekezo ambayo wao wanafanya. Kusema ya kwamba basi tunahitaji kiwango hiki cha fedha ambacho tunahitaji kufanyia hivi, na basi kama executive ama kama serikali kuu wanafikiria kwamba kitatoka mahali fulani.
The government also plans to tax exempt some of the basic commodities like bread in a move that it says will save an additional 70 billion shillings.
The last financial year, we spent 525 billion on tax expenditure. Simply put, tax refunds. Now this is as a result of high tax expenditure on VAT, which constitutes about 60 to 65% of our tax expenditure. So you find that there are goods which are very essential commodities, basic, that we need, that Kenyans use every day. So we must protect the consumers. So we decided to put a lot of these goods under zero-rated commodities.
CS Mbadi also says a raft of changes at the Kenya Revenue Authority will be instituted, which will also bring to the coffers another 105 billion shillings by sealing all loopholes through automation of systems.
If we do reform KRA the way we want, the way I am thinking about KRA, we can get no less than 400 billion more. In fact, some people project even 600 billion.
The ministry is now rushing against time to have these tax measures in place by September 30th. President William Ruto had announced 177 billion shillings spending cuts and 169 billion shillings in additional borrowing to fill in the shortfalls from the Finance Bill 2024's death. The new measures, the government says, will help pay teachers who have threatened to go on strike, pay security forces, and help in the university funding, among others. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
At the same time, the government has heightened surveillance at all border points to check against cross-border spread of the Mpox disease. Now this, as the country awaits the result of tests conducted on the second suspect reported in Thika Town in Kiambu County.
And as Laura Otieno reports, the Council of Governors has called for increased awareness of the symptoms of the virus in order to facilitate prompt isolation and contain infection.
As the region operates on high alert following the declaration of Mpox as a public health concern, Kenya is on high alert. The country has scaled up surveillance at the border points. In Malaba, travelers were screened for high temperature and advised to wash their hands and avoid close contact.
From morning we have screened around 500 international travelers, those traveling from Uganda, entering Kenya. So here we are just dealing with the signs and symptoms. First of all, if somebody is presenting with high temperature or presenting with skin rash.
Madaktari hapa Malaba wako sawa kabisa machoni, wako sawa katika border. Hata kama sisi clear agent huwa tunapima tukivuka pande ile, tukirudi taangaliwa.
This as the Ministry of Health awaits the outcome of tests conducted on a second Mpox suspected case in Thika, Kiambu County. Public Health Principal Secretary Mary Muthoni cautioning against false alarm.
We don't have any other confirmed Mpox case unless the one that we talked about, the 42-year-old male. Until when the ministry communicates and states that we have another Mpox case, please let us not start circulating rumors. Let us stop circulating information. If you are suspected, you are not confirmed. You could be having chickenpox or any other disease.
In the meantime, the Council of Governors is calling on the devolved units to remain vigilant on the risks of Mpox disease, urging residents to be on the lookout for those exhibiting symptoms.
Right now, tunaomba muendelee kunawa mikono, kutumia sabuni, na wale wanapatikana nayo, usiseme huyu ni wetu, wacha tumfungie blanketi, ndio, waonyeshe mapenzi. Lakini they must be isolated, ili isishike kijiji mzima, hospitali zetu zijae kuliko vile zinafaa kukua.
The World Health Organization declared Mpox disease a public health concern, calling on countries to upscale surveillance to combat the spread of the disease. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
Another day, another scam for the umpteenth time now. Residents of Eldoret in the county of Uasin Gishu and its environs have been duped after investing their money in dubious companies aided by church leaders.
That's right. Now, only today, several church leaders or goers camped at Rofam Center at Tuwele, a church leader who they accuse of duping them to invest millions of shillings in a fictitious forex investment known as De La Vie Consult. Our very own Nimrod Tabu. There's the details.
The incidents of church members being duped by church leaders in Eldoret town have become too common. It now appears like a silly game. Church leaders have been establishing small churches, and once the membership soars, the leaders establish what they call investment companies, where they entice the flock to invest their hard-earned cash in the name of wealth creation. The men and women who spoke to us say they joined Rofam Center Christian Church, where Bishop Seko Silas spent little time to convince them to put their money in his De La Vie Consult company.
Mimi hasa pamoja na my relatives, my immediate family, my wife, my other relatives, tumepoteza over 3 million.
Nilikopa hizi pesa kwa sako. Nikasema kwa vile dadangu ameniambia kuna kitu mzuri hapa, nikaona yenyewe ni mzuri, itanisaidia na isaidie pia watoto waweze kusoma.
The churchgoers were promised hefty returns, some 30% of their invested cash every single month. Those who have been duped say at first they got paid, but resources from the company dried out fast.
Niliingia huko mwezi wa 7 na nikalipwa hadi Disemba. Kuanzia Disemba hadi Januari hatujaipata chochote. Tukijaribu kupiga simu tunaambiwa tutawalipa.
For example, ukiweka 100,000 anakupatia 30,000 every end of the month for a period of 12 months. So watu wengi tuliweka pesa zetu pale.
Seko has sent several communications via emails and even phone conversations saying the company has run into some headwinds, but payments will be made once the challenges are dealt with.
These people, De La Vie has been feeding them. These people, De La Vie has been their major source of income. You can never bite a hand that feeds you. Can never urinate on the plate that you're supposed to eat from.
In some cases, Seko has dismissed the disgruntled members, calling them names and boasting that his company will not fold, despite their complaints.
A real man has to work. A real human being has to work. And I have secured the entire organization they are going to invest in our circle and in our organization. A real man works.
Abi Atema says she is in big trouble after urging her mother to give her a title deed in order to secure a loan which she invested at De La Vie Consult.
Hatutaamini mtu fulani eti ni mtumishi wa Mungu, sababu hiyo ndio tunatarajia angetupea mwelekeo, lakini anatuingiza kwa giza. Hakuna mwangaza anatupatia, ni kutuingiza kwa giza.
Ni uchungu mkali sana ikiwa tutakuwa na wenzetu wenye wanatumia njia za ukora kuipia Wakenya wenzao. Ni heri tu angesema tu ukweli na ukweli iwe ukweli, afanye shughuli zake na sisi tufanye shughuli zetu.
Those who spoke to Citizen TV say they have reported the incidents to the police, but very little is being done to apprehend the perpetrator. Nimrod Tabu, Citizen TV.
All right, switching gears here, and victims of police brutality during the anti-government protests, dubbed Nane Nane, are still nursing gunshot wounds close to 2 weeks after the demonstrations.
Bison Amunga, who was shot 3 times during the protests in the Nairobi Central Business District, and Brian Mwangi, paralyzed from the waist down from a bullet lodged near his spine, are demanding for justice.
He gazes to the sky as he reflects on how his life has changed drastically. On his left arm, he holds closely the bullet-riddled jacket which holds the memory of the fateful day when his life took a turn for the worst.
Ilikuwa deep.
Bison Amunga, an ambitious young man, had taken advantage of the Nane Nane protests to sell masks to the demonstrators. What was meant to be a day to make a kill from the sale of masks amidst tear gas and running battles between police and protesters turned to a nightmare for the 24-year-old. His encounter with anti-riot police officers along Kimathi Street left him nursing life-threatening injuries.
Wakaniambia nilale chini, mimi nikalala chini vizuri. Mwingine akamwambia aniingize kwa gari. Mimi sikuingia kwa gari, nikakimbia. Hapo ndo nilishutiwa. Nika lose conscious, vile niliamka nikaangalia mkono, niko na jacket imeraruka, nikaingiza mkono, damu ikatoka na damu. Hapo ndo niliraise alarm, watu wa press wakakuja wakanichukua wakanipeleka Bliss.
He was given first aid before being rushed to Kenyatta National Hospital. For 5 days he was admitted at KNH after doctors found 3 bullets lodged in his right hand. The bullets were removed and he was discharged and allowed to recuperate at home. Amunga remembers those who fired killer shots at him.
Walikuwa AP in green uniform, hizo za ma AP uniform. So vile walishuka kwa gari Land Rover ndio walinishoot, alafu wakadisappear, walipanda hiyo gari.
For a man who depended on his both arms to work and earn a living, Amunga has now been forced to depend on his parents.
Aquarium cleaning services ndio kazi yangu, na juu ya maji sasa siwezi fanya kazi, itabidi ningoje kidonda ipone ndio niendelee na kazi. So sasa niko home tu.
Amunga is lucky to have been discharged and recover back at home. As for Brian Mwangi, his future lies in limbo. Having been shot during the Nane Nane protests in Karatina town, Nyeri County, Mwangi was referred to Kenyatta National Hospital due to the extent of his injuries. The 29-year-old, who was allegedly shot near his place of work, is paralyzed from waist down after the bullet lodged near his spinal cord.
Na huyo mtoto akona uchungu sana, na hiyo risasi tumeambiwa imeguza spina, hata amekuwa paralyzed kutoka hapa kwa tubo, hata asikii tubo yake. Tumeambiwa na daktari chances za huyo mtoto kusimama tena ziko 50-50.
With the bullet still lodged in the body, a neurosurgeon is expected to examine Mwangi on Monday and give a report as to whether the bullet can be removed without causing damage or it will be left in his body for the rest of his life.
Huyu sasa amekuwa mtu paralyzed. Huyu ni mtu wa kutolewa choo. Huyu ni mtu sasa kazi yake hata ifanyia tena. Huyu hakuwa naimba kitu ya mtu. Nigeomba hata kama siku nyingine tu wacheni kutumia live bullet.
A relative who checks on Mwangi, who is an orphan after losing both parents, has appealed to IPOA to probe the incident and prosecute those responsible.
Tunaomba usaidizi.
Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, on that note, sad note, so sad. Let's hope they get the help they need.
I hope so too.
We're going to take a break right here on Sunday Live to let you know that King Ngori Ndegwa, who's the head of lending at HELB, that's a higher education loans board, will be back here
to explain better or in more detail the means testing instrument they're using to classify the students.
And there's lots of questions.
Lots, including how much sensitization they've carried out.
Absolutely.
And how the appeals mechanism works.
Correct. Let's keep tweeting at Koinange Jeff.
At Burrows, at Citizen TV Kenya.
The hashtag is Sunday Live. Sunday Live takes a break. We'll be back in... It is exactly 38 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. On to our one-on-one interview with the head of lending at HELB, the Higher Education Loans Board, King Ngori Ndegwa. He says there's money available. You just have to look for it. What do you say?
Well, we'll see what the comments are and if that is a true reflection of the situation kwa ground.
Correct. Mambo ni different.
But first, let's take a look at what the classification is based on the household income. And the band 1, which covers those who make no more than about 5,995 shillings monthly, qualify for 70% government scholarship. We also have 25% loan, 5% household contribution, and an upkeep of 60,000 shillings. Then those whose income ranges between 5,995 shillings and 23,670, that is Band 2, qualify for 60% government scholarship, 30% loan, 10% household contribution, and an upkeep of 55,000 shillings. Those in Band 3, which ranges from a household income, monthly income of 23,671 shillings and 70,000, are placed in Band 3, and there we have 50% government scholarship as well as 30% loan and 20% household contribution and 50,000 shillings I beg your pardon, upkeep. Then we have Band 4, and Band 4 is for those whose monthly income, family household monthly income is 70,001 and between 70,001 and 119,999. Now that is Band 4, and they qualify for 40% government scholarship, 30% loan, 30% household contribution, and upkeep of 45,000. Now for those whose monthly income is above 120,000, they fall in Band 5, which is 30% access to 30% government scholarship, or rather they qualify for that, and 30% loan, 40% household contribution, and upkeep of 40,000. And those, the monthly household income I was just making reference to, as far as the bands are concerned, are now up on your screen.
So, Kingori, the question is, how do you verify the information provided by students? And you mentioned KRA before, right?
Yes.
How do you verify otherwise?
All those indicators we use 8 social indicators, and then the income, and then the affirmative action. We have APIs with different bodies. For KRA, we have...
When you say API, you mean?
Application Programming Interface. It's a live connection. In fact, things happen automatically without any intervention.
Can access these other
connection, which is if you update KRA, we are able to listen in and be able to pick it up. So we have like now people who are with disability. We have an API with National Council for People Living with Disability. If you are registered there, you just go to Badwan Street. For number of siblings in school, because it also has a weight on the family, we have NEMIS. NEMIS is a national. It's for learners, where all learners are registered in Kenya, and they are given a UPI number. Unique number. So we have a live connection also with the Ministry of Education. Its name is the Ministry of Education. So if you go to the people living under the cash safety nets, the hunger, or they're given money by government, the old was 65 and above, we have a connection with the Social Protection Department, which is a live connection. So and then for you as a person, the information about you, we have an API with what we call IPLS. IPLS is where everybody fetches data, including Safaricom, M-Shwari, M-Pesa, all that. It's a national registry for persons in Kenya. It's automated. So whatever information we get and we use on the MTI, we do not allow self-declared information. So whatever you tell us, we have a connection to check whether you're telling us the truth. That's the difference between our MTI and any other in the world. Nobody else has achieved that except in very modernized nations.
But you saying that, my question then becomes, then how did you get it so wrong in the case of Israel and in the case of Josiah? Because
and maybe more.
You were saying that students are inputting the wrong information, but if you're relying on all these other databases, how did you get it so wrong?
Well, I think we cannot say, for example, for NEMIS, which is now categorizing you and telling us which school you went, if the information there is tallying with what we have in what the student is telling us, then that student will be classified fully. Now, there could be errors which may be, I cannot say that we're 100% perfect. There could be errors, but I don't think the margin of error is more than 1%. It must be below 99.9%. That is the accuracy that I can be able to start and flush for it. So those outliers can be there. It is everywhere in the world. In statistics, there is always an outlier.
In the case of Israel, he did submit with his application a letter from his member of parliament saying he has been a recipient of bursary, that his mother is a single mother. So his circumstances were clearly outlined. So can the reason then he was classified under Band 4, it cannot be that he inputted the wrong information?
We need to verify that information. I'll need to get that information. What can happen is that the students were not supposed to attach anything. They were supposed to upload. There is a template even provided for that. So when you get, when the system will ask you, were you sponsored in high school or even primary school? And we have a drop down of people who we know, the main scholarships, like Elimu Scholarship, Wings to Fly. Now, if you have a letter, maybe if you're at the CDF, which is also part of that, and you are sponsored by CDF, you're supposed to get a letter from your MP and upload. In most cases, if Israel did that, he'll be in bad one. We don't ask any other questions once we get you in that. Even
he says he did do that.
Well,
and was still classified under Band 4.
We will verify. Maybe there could be some technical error somewhere, but we will confirm. And Israel need to come to us. Let him talk to us.
You know, it's a challenge.
He's been trying, but he's not able to get through.
It's easy to say, come to us, but this is, for example, there's another young man in Ganze, Kilifi. A young man in Ganze, Kilifi, who lives in, if you just looked at the type of life they're living, it's deplorable conditions. So telling that young man to come to you, how?
No, Kilifi have Kilifi Huduma Center. We have 28 Huduma centers with 2 employees each from HELP. And where we don't have, we have cyber cafes that we have trained. We have also partnered with COOPS. COOPS is also in all Huduma centers. And they also even have region offices. And when we work with them, you will not even know whether you're working with HELP or Universities FAD or COOPS. We have trained all of them, sensitized all of them to answer all our questions. And they know what to do when such a person comes.
But sometimes they find themselves, you know, they're not confident enough to walk into a Huduma center or a cyber cafe to do the necessary, especially after they've been rejected or put in a different band. What do? I mean, they need that confidence. They need to know that they can appeal and get the aid they need.
Yeah, the appeal module is online, and they just need to log in and wait for the results. It is about 1 hour or so.
Can I be honest with you?
Yes.
Right before we got into studio, I did try accessing hef.co.ke, where they're meant to lodge the appeals.
Yes.
And I could not access it.
We were uploading data. We were uploading data, and when you're uploading data from, this data is in the portal. It has to go to a core system. Once we are given a go-ahead on Friday. To now you can use the tool. So we move the data from one database to another. If you ask technical people even allowed here, it is not anything that can happen in less than 24 hours.
So when is
massive data.
When is it back up?
It should be back up even, maybe we can check even after this. I've just talked to, when I was coming in for the second session, I've just talked to my ICT manager and asked him, have you finished? So before he could answer, I was calling. But it's not anything that can go. We are conscious of the challenges people are going, the hopelessness out there. We want to give our Kenyans hope. We want to tell them HELP is there, UF is there, COOPS is there for them. And these are government institutions that have been set up by your government. So even if the portal is down for a minute or two, most systems, although you'd want them to be fault tolerant, that they cannot go down, like airport system, HELP is at almost that level. Our portal uptime is more than 99%. But when you are doing those kind of transfers of data, you have to switch it off. But there must be a message just saying that...
what about those who are not technologically savvy?
The youth?
Or even... their parents also have to give input, do they not?
No, their parents don't have to. This is student-based, and they can use their gadgets. Those ones who have gadgets, they can even use Mulika Mwizi if you have, there's a USSD code. But about digital, maybe in TVET colleges, but TVET colleges are normally, students are normally assisted when they report. But for university students, within 2 weeks, we had over 100 hits. Over 2 weeks. And it's something that you need to assemble some documents, go to the portal, and upload. Usually, in other times, it can take even up to 3 months.
The appeals process, how long does that take?
The appeal process will be open until the end of July. Anybody who wants to come in, July next year.
No, but for those who have to report, let's say this coming week.
September or whatever.
You know, when you're reporting, you are not supposed to pay 100%. You pay basically about 30%, but you have to finish it before the exams, the 50%. You know, you have 2-3 semesters. What universities have done, we have given them what we call those lists. And they were able to share the information. Is it yesterday? Some letters went out. All universities. Now, that list, they have taken it as a promissory note from government. So nobody is going to be told, go away. They are just going to be told, pay what you have as you wait for the money from HELB. So there is already a process that no student will be turned back. And I can tell parents, wherever they are, take your children to school. If you have any parent having any challenge, let him get in touch with anyone, Huduma Center near us. And then we also have our people on the ground. We have sent people to Machakos, which is opening on Monday. We have sent people to Meru. We have sent people to, I think, Nairobi University. There are some students coming. I don't know, agriculture is coming. So they'll fight our officers with the machines and the information that they have.
You sound very optimistic and very confident, but how do you reassure people out there? Because, people are very skeptical. They don't trust the university system.
Yeah, but for this time, the government has, the ministry has coordinated the funding agencies and the ministries. We have had a series of meetings with the vice chancellors. Even tomorrow, we have a meeting with the PS. So there's a lot of coordination, and the vice chancellors committee is working with us to make sure that we are able to learn safely without any student suffering any consequences.
All right, so now,
talked about the kid in
Ganze, Kilifi. I mean, this is a child who repeated his KCSE exams twice, has been called to Egerton. Even that fare to get from home to Egerton University, because there's an upkeep allocation.
Yes.
And if he's in the wrong band, will he receive that allocation? How soon?
For that case, because maybe he should be able to get with us anytime, including after this. You can even leave my number with you. We should be able to change his bedding on Monday morning, and whatever action need to be done, be done. Maybe the money might take a day or two to get to his account, but I believe, they are required to raise at least 5%. Which course is he doing, by the way?
It's medicine.
Medicine.
But let me just confirm. I'll
medicine,
confirm that.
the amount is high. But if you look at, I had done a simulation for these programs like education, medicine, Bachelor of Commerce. So, and I'm trying to check somebody in band 1, how much are you going to pay? If you look at education and you're in band 1, you're supposed to pay, the cost of the education in, the average cost is 122,400 in Kenya. The household contribution is 6,120. And this one is to be paid into installments. And then the child is getting an upkeep of 60. If I go to band 5, the same program cost, the parent is supposed to pay 48,960, and the upkeep is 40. Now, this is for 2 semesters. So if you divide 48 by 2, that's 24. This child just last year was paying more than 30,000, 50,000 for high school. So even if the situation has changed so dramatically, they should be able to lay some bit of bus fare to get home, to get to school. Sorry.
That bus fare is the problem. From Kilifi to, was it Nakuru County?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money for people who are making 5,000 a month.
Yes.
You know?
I'm curious, how many have you categorized under the various bands?
Well, 133,000.
In total?
No, so 113,000. 113,000.
113,000?
Yes.
What's the transition rate?
89% now.
89%?
Yes.
So how many under band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, and 5?
Under band 1, we have 10,598, which is 9.5%. Band 2, we have 11,393. Band 3, we have 37,164. Band 4, we have 26,130. But 5, where the most complaints are coming from, we have 7,194, which is 6.6% of the total applicants.
And how have you been impacted by the budget cuts?
From last year, the government has been very generous to us. We didn't suffer any budget cut. We got everything we wanted. But previously, before 2022, we had some struggle. Right now, I think the focus on education is so much from the government.
And the story last week that 70,000 students might miss out on university?
No. The money has been committed by National Treasury. I won't even be surprised if we get it tomorrow. But even if it doesn't come tomorrow, I said we still have some money from recoveries, about 3-4 billion, which we can already use to pay the ones who have reported. Not everybody has reported, only about 4 universities. Majority of them will be reporting on 26th, and another group on 2nd. So we have money to cater for the few that have reported.
So you have no funding deficit?
We don't have a funding deficit. After the Thursday commitment, Monday commitment from the Treasury, we don't have.
There's a lot of questions coming in.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of
Twitter or X.
those.
Shall we get to that?
Yes.
What do you say? Come on, let's do that because a lot of people are asking a lot of questions we want to know. coming in very thick and
Let's
very
see
fast.
who we have up first.
That's right, go ahead.
This is a senior activist. Why is it that we TVET students at Machakos University are not eligible for HELB funding? Is that accurate?
Yes, it is a policy issue where the universities were directed not to offer diplomas because the TVETs, the government had invested billions of dollars in TVETs. Do you know the last, from 2014, the government has built over 200 new TVETs. And they are equipped. They have major, laboratories, which we cannot even find in the universities. So instead of now institutions competing for a small group of people, the TVETs were told, you take the diplomas and the certificates. Universities focus on the degrees. Yeah, so we have such a policy, and that's what you're following.
Gerald M. Kariuki says, help clarify as well on the postgraduate funding for scholars repaying their undergraduate loans and the scholarship program. What's the criteria for applying and getting one? Postgraduate.
Postgraduate is different. For people who are doing masters and PhD, or you're doing a first degree and you have been working. So we have that money is available. You just go to the portal. The only thing we need is your payslip to be having at least something that can cover a third of your basic. But this is straightforward. It has no issue at all. I've never had any complaint about this because we're able to give you the money in the shortest time possible. It takes less than 1 week to process a postgraduate loan. And the massive money, a lot of money, is 200,000, 600,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, this is Dennis Gitari. How does the ministry determine the parents' income? What information or data do they rely on? Do not forget, majority of Kenyans are employed in the informal sector. Really good question.
Yeah, but the way we verify that data is through Kenya Revenue Authority. And that data, we have data from turnover, if you're running a business, TOT, if you are working, if you have rental income, and they don't give us the amount, the actual amount, they give us a rate, just like the way you see the ranges on this wall, it's the same. They just say this one is between 0 and that one. So we're able to match that with the
What if you're a border rider?
They'll be found somewhere.
I mean, even people who are jobless, how would you access their data on?
What would happen if you're jobless? The MTI can be able to know, because it will also see where you are taking your children to school. It will also see your consumer behavior, because there are some areas that you are seeing. We'd also see that you are maybe at the hunger and safety net by the social protection. So we are able to, those ones without income, we are able to go further and check with other databases that it's true that they are not on income.
Those being paid cash every day?
For some reason, you go and transact somewhere. And what you don't know is that the government is collecting a lot of data. So for some, you will transact somewhere, even if it is something, maybe some kind of tax you have paid. Because when you are paying, even buying fuel, you pay some tax. Maybe it does not give you the name, but if you are purchasing something, even about a border, you pay some tax. You're already picked by the KRA data.
But let me ask you, do you have officers who actually go on ground and verify with the chief or assistant chief that this child is actually in need of assistance?
Our team usually does a sample because it's very expensive to cover. Social protection have, for the last about 10 years, I've only covered 23 counties. It's very expensive. But we also have the education officers on the ground. They're able to verify that information. We normally give them the list and they go to the various homes. Already, I think this month, after this one is done and we have sorted the appeals, we'll go to the ground and just sample through some households to see exactly how the MTI was accurate.
All right.
Okay, let's keep moving.
This is Martin Koros, who says, I need to ask for clarity on erroneous deduction by HELB, whereas someone didn't benefit from them. I have followed up deductions amounting to 180,000 but haven't been refunded.
Maybe we can investigate that, but this one looks like a dream to me. I've never had. How would we recover money from you and we never gave you? What would happen, what some people do? They applied for the money, but they didn't go to school. Then you get a job or you get a scholarship, you leave. So, but the money is sent to you told us you're in Egerton, we will send the money there. So when Egerton doesn't return the money to us, we will ask you for the money. And you didn't go to, because you never told us that you didn't go to Egerton. You just left. So this could be a thing like that, but we do not have anybody that has ever come to us to say, I was not given. They'll give a story, I didn't go to school, so I never received the money.
Okay. Do you want to take the next one, Jeff?
Absolutely, let's do it. Maneno Newton says, my problem with this new model is that at the end of a student's course, they'll be saddled with a loan burden of hundreds of thousands of shillings as they begin their career journey. Is this meant to make former students financially beholden to the government or what?
Actually, who pays this loan? Is it
There's
the student or the
pays.
parent?
The student pays. But if you look at those percentages, the poor student is taken care of because the poor student is only paying 5%. I mean, getting a loan of 10%. So, and then, Jeff, about 35 years ago, I went to university. I got a loan, a very huge, which I've paid until about a few years ago. So loans are normally meant to create sustainability in a project, because if you just give money and it just disappears like scholarship, then the next year the same. Over time, you will start struggling. So loans come in. If you look at many countries in the world, like the US, loan burden is a campaign issue every time.
Yeah.
The student leave university with 30 million of school fees.
Correct.
Here in Kenya, we have looked at the highest, will be about 2.2 million. But you know now, you had a medical doctor. Those are medical doctors. Let me not comment about joblessness in the country because I saw the other time they were demonstrating. But in a very few months, a doctor is able to start making money, even without employment. They do the locums, the what, all those things. But I would rather get the loan and go to school, rather than having a financial barrier for me to get to school. And then the president has promised that the reason why he's funding at program cost, he wants Kenyans to get very good quality graduates. Previously, you could get graduates who are half-baked. I think you have heard about the story. Because the money was not enough. The school would teach you until the end of the money. Then from there, you will go to industry to learn the rest. So this model is based on pure good reasons and sincere reasons. But maybe people are leading it differently. But I can assure you the philosophy behind it is to help Kenyans go to school.
All right. This is Ben Riot, who says the fund appeal section is inactive as of now. I think you addressed that.
Yeah.
You addressed that earlier. Jeff?
Yes, Sage Kalani says, kindly clarify on students who were placed in private universities. Are they eligible for the scholarship too, or just the loan?
Any student admitted in a private university, they are getting a loan only, and they are getting a loan of 60% of their program cost. And the reason is, one, when they were applying for placement, they were warned 3 times. You are choosing a school that does not attract government sponsor. Do you want to proceed? And they proceeded. Before they submitted, they were asked the same question again, twice. So if you look at choice, when you're making a choice, it means choice, by the way, in consumerism shows that you have some money somewhere. You know, you have something somewhere.
Yeah.
So the element of scholarship was not only for students in public universities.
All right.
But the loan is there.
Yeah.
Do we take one more question? This is Jonathan. Who says the funding is shambolic, the classification is vague. Students whose parents are not working are banded in category 3 of 23,000, and in Kenya, very few rural families have such an income. Your response?
You know, we are not even talking about absolute incomes for rural families. Let me tell you, I come from Nyeri. We don't buy meal. We have our own cows. We have our own food. I don't go to the shop. In fact, only sugar and salt. So if you quantify that income, you might find that even the person in the village, especially in area, very nice agricultural areas, Rift Valley, they may even be better than some of us. Because me, I have to go to the shop to buy everything I need. Them, they have it there. Now many times they have enough for themselves, and they can also sell to their neighbors.
All right, let's squeeze in one more. This is Kamau Vicky. Do you want to take this? Go ahead. That funding model isn't fair. I was placed in Band 5, where I'm supposed to pay 122,400 shillings per year, and my parents' income is less than 12,000, and I gave out the correct details when applying. My dream now is totally shattered because my parents are not able. Yeah,
this is a case of, and because I've heard about them, these are teachers and maybe civil servants. Because of the many, they are committed, they are now building capital, they are buying, maybe you're building a house. So you take a loan until your income is so small. So these are the people who are, and these are the people we are focusing with the appeal module. But basically, this is somebody who has some, you can even see 12,000, but he could, if he clarified, he would be telling us this is the net income, not the gross income.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of messages. I have one here from the Chief Conservationist at Kenya Forestry Services. His name is Julius Kamau, right? He says there's a young man I know who's of a single mother who is not employed. In fact, he schooled through Harambee in secondary school, yet was categorized band 3. And he is supposed to pay 55,000 shillings per year. He cannot even raise 12,000.
Yeah, these are the people we are saying, let them come to us. We look at how they got into that bad. And I'm saying the experience I've had, I've done this MTI for the last 27 years. Students normally give their powers to fill this form to someone else. And they trust the person is doing. And since they are not able to see the data they have entered, because the data, whatever print is only 1 page, but the data they have put is like 10 pages. So that is usually where the biggest problem is. But let them come to us. The appeal module is waiting for them, and we have money reserved for them. So nobody should lose hope. And I'm telling universities, and I'm requesting them, it's a prayer. If a student came to you and said, I want to go home, tell him before I sign your letter, go to HELB. And before they go home, let them come to us. They'll see the kind of intervention we'll do for them.
Here's another one. Jeff, I have a student reporting tomorrow at UON, and he is yet to get any loan and has not been categorized in any of these bands. He is very confused.
There are some students who applied for loans on Thursday and Friday and this weekend. You see the report we have that was sent to the university, sent on Thursday. So anybody who is there will be categorized tomorrow on Monday, and the information released to the university. Actually, and for those universities that are open, we already have somebody waiting for them. So let them look for the help desk. It will be clearly marked. There will be banners, and they will be assisted.
Maybe you should give our viewers your number so that they can all call you tonight.
But here we have a question. Does HELB track the progress of students they fund from admission to graduation? Okay, I think you started in 2022, yeah?
Yes.
If so, what's the dropout rate and how has that changed since introduction of the new funding model? You have experience of what, the last cohort?
Yes, the experience of the last cohort. Actually, only about 200 students who never reported. 209 thereabout. And although they had applied for loans, they never reported, and we have already told the universities to return the money, and they have returned. So I think because of the packaging, the financial packaging we have given, the retention rate is higher than before. If you look at the completion rate for the previous years, they are very bad.
Yeah.
I don't want even to mention here.
Kinoridewa,
yeah,
that's your camera over there.
Yes.
Talk to the people out there who are saying, help me, help me. What do you tell them?
To all my Kenyans, students who are reporting to the university last year and this year, the government has enough money for you. If you have been categorized in the wrong band, please get to the nearest Huduma Center, or if you are within Nairobi, you can also be able to reach us. We are also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you can be able to get in touch with us, we'll be able to package something for you so that you also join the other children in class. Thank you very much.
Well done. Kinoridewa, I wish I could be a student again. I would apply for this.
You would? I got a HELB loan.
You did, huh?
And yes, and how are the repayment terms different this time around than when it was under the differentiated unit cost? Because there are those who feel that this will saddle them with more debt.
No, this one, they will graduate around after 5 years. That's when we shall start seeing how they are moving. But the kind of teaching now they are getting, it will be very easy for them to get a job. Because they will be by the time they are finishing, they will even be doing what they are learning. Yeah. Unlike before, where they were not able to cover the whole syllabus because of funding. Remember, some courses require you buy materials, you buy what, and the universities did not have that money. This year alone, we have transferred what we can say different from the other year. I mean, last year and the other years, we've transferred more than 5 billion additional money to the university that they had not received. They will not have received it under the other model.
And they've been able to
receive that even without IDs. Yeah, and even without IDs, people are applying with index number. We have about 22,000 students who have already applied without with the index numbers.
Are they the loan signatories?
Yeah, they have signed.
All right.
Yeah.
You still paying your loan?
No, I cleared it. I never came for my clearance letter. We'll discuss later. But on that note, Jeff.
Thanks so much. Head of Lending at HELB. Keep helping.
Thank you.
Helping.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, folks. We're going to take a break. Come back. Plenty more ahead. It is exactly 13 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. Now, there are growing calls for the removal of the ODM party and its leader, Raila Odinga, from the Azimio la Umoja coalition, as leaders from the affiliate parties voice their disapproval of ODM's collaboration with the government.
This comes amid accusations that the alliance between ODM and Kenya Kwanza contradicts the principles of political party alliances. Melito Letenges has more.
The disquiet in the Azimio la Umoja coalition is getting more pronounced as affiliate parties push for the expulsion of ODM from the coalition over its collaboration with the ruling alliance Kenya Kwanza. Jubilee, PNU and DAPK parties now say the way forward will be provided by the chairman of the coalition council, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, to ensure the parties agree on the re-establishment of the coalition's principles and a robust opposition.
Some are saying, oh, Ruto is not that bad now that he has given us very good positions in his government. And they are saying they are not going to fight this government because they are now part of this government.
It's like kicking the youth on their teeth. Na kuambia mutadu. So this is this government of so-called broad-based governments is riding on the death of our children.
Azimio leader Raila Odinga recently suggested that retired President Uhuru Kenyatta advised him to engage President William Ruto at the height of anti-government protests. However, leaders have dismissed these claims as false.
Aliambia watu wa dunia hii hasa hapa Mount Kenya, musiungane, musiende kwa UDA, kuna shida. Sasa hawezi kuwa yeye ndio anaambia mtu mwingine asiende waungane naye kwa serikali. You just need to add 1+1. There's no way he will be, those double speaks are not good for leadership.
These statements emerged just days after Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka claimed he would work with Azimio leader Raila Odinga to strategize and bolster the opposition, raising doubts about his position.
You see, we must continue to engage with Raila Odinga. Is as we speak, the leader of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition. There's no way we will not engage with him going forward, and so that is to be expected.
ODM deputy party leaders, on the other hand, have maintained that ODM is independent from the government.
Lakini nilimwambia vizuri kwamba ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Ruto, sisi kama ODM hatuko katika serikali yako. Ile kitu tumefanya, tumepewa askari kidogo walinde amani, warudishe uchumi vizuri. Wacha niwaulize, tuko na askari Somalia, tuko na askari kule Haiti. Tumebadilika, tumekuwa Haiti kweli? Tumegeuka, tumekuwa Somalia? Tumebaki kuwa Kenya.
Only come out to say ya kwa nyumba inachomeka, mnahitaji firemen wetu, endeleeni chukua firemen kwa sababu nyumba ikichomeka tunachomeka sote. Lakini narejelea tena, chama cha ODM is not in a coalition arrangement or pact with the government of UDA.
Melita Oletenges, Citizen TV.
Church service was suspended at the AIC Kaola Mani Church in Eldoret as leadership wrangles pitting two groups of faithful intensified.
That's right. Now, this comes even as another standoff at the Kia Mwadhi PCA Church in Nyeri stalled the church's proceedings for about 6 hours as youth from 7 churches that form the PCEA Nyeri Joy Parish protested a decision by the elders of the church to kick out the resident reverend. Let's get more from our very own Kamau Mwangi.
These were the scenes early Sunday at the AIC Kaola Amani in Eldoret City as a section of congregants held their service outside their church as the house of God remained under lock and key. A leadership row stands between them and the access to the church. A section of leaders who were thrown out of their positions in a recent election have allegedly refused to vacate their positions, with the congregants accusing their bishop to be behind the church's woes.
Chuki imepandwa ndani ya kanisa na kugawanywa. Watu wengine wanafinyiliwa sana members wale walikuwa wa zamani, wale walikuwa walijenga kanisa. hatuna nafasi ya kusema, hatuna usemi kanisani.
Wageni ndio wanataka kutunyanyasa. Tulifanya election, the winners wakakuwa nullified na haikukuwa na makosa yoyote, lakini baadaye wakakuja wakafanya election nyingine na wakalalia upande mmoja. Tumekuwa tukiomba sana tupewe dialogue, lakini imekuwa ngumu sana.
As this was happening in Eldoret, another standoff took the better part of Sunday at the Kiamwathi PCA Church in Nyeri, as youth drawn from the 7 churches that make up the Kiamwathi parish protested a decision by the elders of the church to kick out Lucy Keriongi, the resident reverend. The youth held the church hostage for close to 6 hours, locking out congregants who had arrived early for the Sunday service as they held a meeting inside the church compound to address their concerns with the presbytery's moderator.
Alikuwa anaambiwa ati hatupatii Holy Communion, ambayo tunaamini ya kwamba sisi tumekuwa tukifuatana na. Tena tunasikia undermine our my elders, ambao pia wanafaa kujua kanisa ni ya watu wote. Kwa hivyo wakiwa na shida yote na wao na reverend wetu wanafaa kuyaleta hata kwa members.
Tumeconfirm pia di mambo imekuwa ikiendelea kisha na maana imekuwa hata ikifanywa hadharani tukiona. So hatunge pretend that all is well, yet it isn't.
And even though they allowed the service to continue late noon, the youthful congregants promise a repeat of today's event if nothing is done to kick out the elders who they accuse of delaying the development of the church.
Vijana wako na mambo mazuri sana wanasema. In fact they are godly. Na kwa hivyo hawana matatizo yote. Na pia reverend yako hapa, tutafanya kazi pamoja na hakuna mtu anaenda, mambo yote yako sawa? Yako sawa.
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV in Nyeri.
Looks like Gen Z continue to occupy churches.
You know.
In other news from the counties, 2 people were killed in 2 separate incidents in Nakuru and Bungoma. Willie Lusige has the details.
In Nakuru County, a middle-aged man allegedly attacked and killed his love on Sunday morning following a domestic squabble in Diuni village, Gilgil sub-county. Residents reported that the couple had been fighting but were perturbed that the issue escalated, leading to death. The suspect behind the killing was apprehended and will remain in police custody as investigations into the tragic accident continue. Elsewhere in Bungoma County, 1 person died and 3 others were injured in a motorbike accident at Konombaya in Mount Elgon. Witnesses blamed a tire burst for the crash as residents demanded for road repairs, threatening to protest if the government will not take any action.
Kwa ile kona ambayo inaitwa Konombaya, tunataka irekebishwe, iwekwe straight, watoe hiyo kitu ambayo inaitwa Konombaya kwa sababu imebadilisha maisha yamekuwa mabaya. Konombaya imeua watu. Hatutaki hiyo Konombaya, tunataka tukue na barabara ambayo iko straight.
In Mandera County, the county government has launched a water expansion project in Banisa sub-county to address water shortages and waterborne diseases. As part of the project, Banisa Dam will be upgraded to improve access to clean water for thousands of residents.
The first step that the county government is taking is to make sure that the dam is expanded, it is fenced, a filtration and treatment system is put in place.
Willie Lusige, Citizen TV.
There's a story that you're going to really like. Listen to this. Nairobi was filled with excitement this weekend as one of the world's leading worship collectives, Maverick City Music, made a grand arrival in Kenya as part of the African Kingdom World Tour.
The group was joined by gospel legend Kirk Franklin, who Jeff just told me he knows in person, and Nigeria's worship sensation Team Godfrey. Royal Media Services was the official media partner for the event. Vincent Mumo reports.
Maverick City Music, the renowned American contemporary worship collective, officially touched down in Nairobi early Saturday morning, marking the Kenyan leg of the African Kingdom World Tour. Fresh from their Uganda show, the group arrived at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in a flurry of excitement, accompanied by gospel icon Kirk Franklin and Nigeria's worship sensation Team Godfrey. The vibrant welcome set the tone for what would be an unforgettable evening. The much anticipated concert at Uhuru Gardens did not disappoint. Maverick City, alongside Kirk Franklin, Tim Godfrey and local artist Bethel Lasoi and Timothy Kaberia delivered electrifying performances that thrilled their Kenyan fans. The night was filled with high-energy music, deep moments of worship, and a shared sense of spiritual connection.
We never give God enough time, and so I felt like this was the perfect day to just come experience Maverick and, Kirk Franklin, but at the same time give God all glory and honor.
Royal Media Services, the official media partner for the event, had widely publicized the concert across its platforms, including Gospel Sunday on Citizen TV, Hot 96, and Citizen Digital, building up the anticipation.
We thank Kenyans for turning out in large numbers. We thank them for selling out the tickets, and we thank them for enjoying themselves. And we are promising them to bring even more of this nature of events to them.
The evening lived up to the hype, becoming a night to remember for all in attendance. This stop in Kenya is part of Maverick City's African tour, which has already seen them perform in Johannesburg in South Africa, Harare in Zimbabwe, and Kampala in Uganda. Vincent Mumo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
It is exactly 1:30. Welcome back to Sunday Live, right here, Citizen Television. On to sports news, Olive.
FKF Cup champions Kenya Police FC were held to a barren draw by Ethiopia's Coffee Stars in the first leg of their CAF Confederation Cup first preliminary round at the Nyayo Stadium on Sunday. Police dominated the opening exchanges of the game as Coffee were forced to defend their quarters in the first 10 minutes. The hosts were forced to make an early change in the 15th minute when Brian Musa was stretchered off with an injury. Police put pressure on the visitors and almost went ahead in the 58th minute through a Leku shot that was saved by Dawit Teka. The return leg will be staged at Abebe Bikila Stadium in Addis Ababa next Saturday.
We've seen what we had anticipated. Ethiopian players are very, very technical, and we saw it today. So our work is well cut out, but I'm pretty sure we've got the personnel to make sure that we get a decent result in Ethiopia.
From football to rugby, and Kabras RFC are the champions of the Dallas Sevens, beating Menengai Oilers 24-7 in the final at the Jomo Kenyatta Stadium in Mamboleo on Sunday. Now, Jackson Siketi scored the opening try for Kabras after a turnover from a line-out, scoring his brace from a well-executed offload to extend Kabras' lead. Now, William Wanui further increased the Kabras' advantage with a try in the left corner. Now, in the second half, the Oilers managed a try, but were outpaced as Siketa completed his hat-trick with another try for Kabras, sealing the victory with a successful conversion.
The Paris Olympic Games concluded exactly a week ago with a closing ceremony at the Stade de France. Great interview with Faith Kipyegon, by the way.
Thank you.
Now, for many journalists, mobile phone journalism was the way to go, with new technology taking over the media space. And our very own sports editor, Michael Kinney, was not left behind as he joined the bandwagon of mobile phone journalism known as Mojo.
Mojo.
The Olympics is the pinnacle of sports where professional athletes aspire to compete. It is the same for journalists, as it is the biggest sporting event every 4 years. For journalists, you strive to give the best stories with good and quality images and audio. For the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, part of my gear was a Samsung S24 Ultra phone, as well as the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5 phone. The two did the bulk of what you watched on TV, especially on the live links from Paris.
Last night, it was an epic night for Kenyans at the Stade de France, because Stade de France...
First things first, Miramar City, where Team Kenya had a training camp for the volleyball team, Malkia Strikers, the rugby team, Shujaa, and the sprinters in athletics. Part of the stories we did were the arrivals and departures of Team Kenya that travelled in different batches. All these images were captured on the Samsung S24 Ultra at the Marseille airport. With a 200 megapixel wide resolution camera and a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera topped with a 10 megapixel 3x optical zoom, the S24 Ultra delivered the perfect footage in ultra high definition.
Definitely, there are so many things going back at home, staying away from our family.
This interview is also captured on the same device using an external microphone that delivers the clear audio. Armed with the two devices, the activities of the Kenya team were well captured in broadcast quality. The activities included training sessions with challenging sports like swimming, usually requiring a good camera that can capture good images without the water reflection interference. The training sessions varied as well from early morning to late afternoons. The different times of the day did not affect the devices as they produced the same quality images. Some sessions were in the gym with no good lighting, but the end product was the same. The S24 proved to be the device for live transmission as we were able to do live interviews from Miramar City with broadcast quality images in ultra high definition beamed on television.
Just to test and gauge the level of preparedness.
Yes, that has been arranged.
From Miramar City, the teams headed to the city of Paris for the Olympic Games with the competition starting on the 24th of July, days before the official opening ceremony. Rugby team Shujaa were the first in action against Argentina in a packed Stade de France. Part of that huge crowd were Kenyan rugby fans who were captured again, this time on the Samsung Z Fold 5 with amazing results.
Unajua tuko na udongo na Onyala team score team safi. Kuna games kuna shida na kushinda au team zingine na win. Sisi ni hini rafiki. So ya alikuwa na Kenya. And yeah.
The game changer was the live updates between Paris and Nairobi, especially with the start of the athletics program.
Remember, is a venue that was hosting rugby and as well as athletics.
It takes only a few minutes to set up and connect with the studio for clear sessions that last between 3 to 5 minutes. Even with insufficient lighting, the S24 still came through with clear images every time we went live from Paris. Behind the scenes, a lot was happening. Before the volleyball matches, there was always entertainment for the fans, with the arena always sold out for all Kenya games against Brazil, Japan and Poland. Samsung Z5 Fold was my device of choice here, with the manual settings matching the best quality of professional broadcast cameras. The same was for the Stade de France, the venue for rugby sevens and athletics program, as well as the closing ceremony. The mix zone at the Stade de France is where athletes interact with journalists from across the world conducting interviews. On big competition nights, the crews were many, and also the fans and athletes' families took advantage to interact with them behind the mix zone. Despite the poor lighting, we managed good images here with both the S24 and Z Fold 5. From Paris to Nairobi and to Eldoret, where the athletes were hosted by President William Ruto at the Eldoret State Lodge and the Eldoret Sports Club. This was a crowning moment as Kenyans were able to interact with the athletes at the end of the games. In the changing world of journalism, where we now embrace mobile phone journalism, Samsung S24 Ultra and Samsung Z5 Fold proved to be the best companion throughout the Olympics journey. Michael Kinyi for Citizen TV in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County.
I like the mojo thing.
Oh, he definitely had some mojo.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when he was in Paris.
Michael Kinyi's got mojo.
I hope he's brought back my phone.
Feedback time. My good friend Munyori Mbuku says, "Hey Jeff, how you doing? That help guy is very knowledgeable and experienced. Well done. Please give me his number."
Okay, let's take a look at some of your other feedback.
Yeah.
Let us see. This is Thiongo Ngugi who says the so-called funding model is a way of denying the less fortunate a chance to get educated. As a victim of the same, I can no longer continue my second year of university education due to first year's balance.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it? And Koske FK says, the new funding model is burdening already overburdened middle class. Household incomes doesn't mean disposable income, as they bear a lot of taxes. Classification, branding, also a mess, as it leaves the needy to pay more.
Now we have the boss. Why don't they abandon this kind of funding model and they revisit the old one? Because many families are suffering and are ending up being categorized in other bands where they don't fit. I have gotten one on Instagram. Kelvo says, where should I complain? Because I'm a victim of band placement and I don't know where I should complain so that it can be rectified. I've gotten a message on WhatsApp. Somebody saying, Ata mimi hapa, my brother is going tomorrow Egerton, but band 4 Aki, tears.
You know what? The feedback is fantastic, so keep doing it. What is it? What's the website? hef.co.ke. Do that. Go there, go to your Huduma Center, go make some noise.
Assuming the website is not back up.
Correct. Now, muwasalimia wote.
Oh gosh. Jeff. Well, as a victim of kusalimiwa. Well, as it for Sunday, Lord.
What do you say we do this again next week, same time, same place? What do you say?
We have no choice.
None?
None.
Zero?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yeah. Have a great week, everybody.